The meeting has commenced, 3 o'clock, July 21st, 2022. I don't see any members of the public here, so I don't have to worry about that. So, as always, Charlie sent out a nice, very good minutes for last meeting.
I added the URL into it. I sent you out a copy before the
Yep,
meeting.
yes, I got the revised. So does anybody have anything they want to add, subtract?
Yeah, I do have, it's actually number 4, but it goes back to the minutes.
Okay.
What is Jacqueline's role? Because in the minutes it says she will be a vice chairperson, and I didn't think that's what we decided. And I wrote a little note to Charlie, is this the official role we have assigned to Jacqueline, or I thought it was gonna be more informal.
Right, well, we have, because this committee has been like 2 people for a long, long time, we dispensed with like elections and things like that a long
Right.
time ago because there wasn't anybody to elect.
Yeah.
So, Charlie and I have been sort of keeping the faith here, and then, you joined, and now we have 4 people, so we could, in theory, have official titles if we wanted to.
What I was thinking that if you seem to have a lot of time occupied by your job, and that if you're not available, that somebody could step in and organize a meeting so we wouldn't have a lack of meetings completely. And that's the position, and I thought of that as a vice chair. That's what I thought you would be able to do, so we don't have no meetings, because we're ineffective as a community when it gets right, as a
Right.
committee, when it gets right down to, we've done basically nothing for the whole year, okay? Other than talk. I mean, I hate to be
Right.
on a pedestal, but that's
Yeah.
basically it. And so if Valerie is not available, then somebody needs to take I'm not here, and take the command and run the meeting. That's all we need. We can call it a vice chair, you can call it a temporary meeting holder, or whatever you want to call
Okay,
it.
Yeah,
I just wanted to be
yeah.
clear on that.
So, first of all, let's ask you, would you be amenable
Yeah, I
to
would be
being the
amenable.
vice chair,
Yeah. You can call me something less
co-chair?
ambitious,
An alternate meeting holder.
something like
Well,
Oh,
that.
wait, I think we have to stay within the realm of what they recognize,
Yes.
as titles.
Okay.
Because-
Yeah, you can keep it humble. It doesn't have to
Okay,
be.
so since it's already in there as vice chair, let's just leave it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, is it vice chair or vice chairperson? I don't want to be.
Vice chairperson,
Okay,
which is what's in here, so I'm gonna
Good.
leave it as that, because I don't wanna have to fuss with it anymore.
yeah,
And it means it's, and I think we all kind of know what that is. And so,
right, and then I can
yeah,
send the minutes to.
Perfect.
Yeah.
yeah.
I did make a spelling correction, which I just noticed last night. Environmental justice number, kind of toward the bottom, based on ethnicity, economic, should be disadvantaged. I think you were just typing fast.
What's spelled wrong?
Disadvantage is spelled disadvantageous.
Not on the revised one.
Yeah, well, he might, it's,
This is what I have.
oh,
It's bullet 1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay.
5.
well, you must have corrected it then.
Right, so I think that's okay. It's
Okay.
fine, Charlie.
What's wrong with it?
Good, okay.
Well, apparently
It's
it's been
It's
corrected.
good, it's been corrected, okay. I'm gonna correct it on my copy and then send it off.
So, anything else that anybody want to bring up about these? All right, so Charlie, I sent you an email with a URL, and so because you have these on your computer, at the end of after today, you can then just email this to that email that I gave you.
That's an email address?
It's a email address. I would take all the 2022 ones, I think we've got 3 now, 3 sets of minutes for starting in 2022. Send all 3, and then every month just send the ones that we approve.
What is that site
We-
where this is going?
Just like the agenda has to go to a particular
Place.
email,
Mhm.
our minutes have to go to another
Email.
different email. And it's basically, they just, we'll learn all about this at our open meeting law training.
Yeah.
But our minutes have to be public record, and so that's that they have to collect them.
And that's gonna be Charlie's
Yeah, because
responsibility.
he's got them, he just like
Great,
attaches them and sends them on. So do we all approve the minutes? Yay?
Yes.
yay,
Yes.
yay.
So we have approved them, and you can just send this off with the other ones.
Is it possible to bring up some of the items in the minutes that really haven't been addressed?
Nope,
as part
we
of-
have to stick to what's on the agenda. If there are things that we are not on this agenda that you wanna bring up next time, then make sure that gets to, Roseanne,
Okay,
so
okay.
that, because you did such a really good job with this.
Thank you.
And,
Yeah.
a very good job with this.
Yeah,
And I think it's good to have one person who can kind of collect and sort of synthesize and, sort of, because we'll all have, we can all say 3 different things, but you may notice it's kind of all the same and just put it into one.
right. And I did actually go through the minutes, to see what things kind
Right.
of carry
Yeah.
over so that I could do
Yeah.
a fairly reasonable job, so, okay.
So,
Did you press the start button?
I did.
Otherwise, we're in violation of the open meeting law.
And we've already done the thing about Jacqueline's.
Yeah.
Okay, follow-up grants, I sent you that just today,
Right,
so that you can peruse that website and look at that.
Did you send it to Ms. Powers' guy?
No, he, forget Powers, he's the administrator, he has nothing to do with the details of any of this. We're gonna get to that later. But I did send it to Sean Libby, and I did send it to,
Julie?
Julie. Right, so, because Julie said that they do have it on their calendar to try to do, but I think our job is to make sure that, and I didn't
To
have
do
time
what?
to,
Julie has on her calendars to do what?
well, the town code,
Okay.
they have it, because when I showed it to them before,
Mhm.
it was too late for them to apply for that particular round of grant funding.
Mhm.
They told me that they are still interested and that they will try to be ready for the next round of grant funding.
Okay.
But I think it's up to us to make sure that it doesn't like fall off
Right,
the table.
that we follow up,
Yeah,
that
and-
they implement.
Right, right. And I didn't have a chance, I was in a rush this afternoon, I didn't have a chance to go into that website to
Mhm.
double check what the
Right.
next date is, but we can all do that and we can come back and talk about that another
Mhm.
time.
Okay.
Okay, the Dick Elkins videos and possible showing on channel 18. Did anybody look into that?
Well, I didn't look into Channel 18,
Oh, okay,
and I
yeah.
will, but I did watch the videos. I watched, the very first one totally.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, it was, and I actually know a lot of, I used to be a member of Hayam, so I know a lot of people who
Yep.
are involved with that. I watched the Cape Light Compact one kind of here and
Yep.
there because I've heard Mary
Yep.
Downey's spiel. And I watched the one on electric cars, I just thought it was kind of interesting.
I thought the part where he goes into about abrupt change causing, and you mentioned this before, where he shows a picture of New York City in 1900, and there's
Yes.
50,
Yeah.
That's very
50
powerful.
horse and buggies down there in one car.
Yes.
In 1913,
Yes.
there's 50 cars and one horse and
Yeah.
buggy. And the people in 1900 would have been thinking, oh, there's no gas stations down the road, I better bring a horse with me when I'm driving my car down. And it's the same mentality of the people with the electric car. And that's
Today.
why it's so, it's right on point. Why do we have to reinvent it and develop our own stuff? We could send that out, if people get them, they're trying to send a message to these people that they have to
Right.
prepare for this kind of stuff. And that's the whole agenda here. He's agreed to
How
this.
long are these videos? Like,
Different, what is the, what,
Basically 20 minutes each.
well, but the Cape Light Compact one was longer, I believe.
But it was very technical.
Yes,
what were they talking about?
they're talking about heat pumps and.
Oh, yeah,
No,
yeah,
we're
yeah.
trying to
And
inform all the
discounts
people
coming from the
about the
state.
different things that are available
Oh,
to,
no,
let's
I
say, how are you
understand.
gonna replace a gas hot water heater and make it green? Well, they told you a feature, but I didn't
Yeah.
even know that they had these heat pumps that drive a hot water heater, and they talk about in-ground heat pumps that draw the water out of the ground and use it for, all these things, if people
Yeah.
aren't aware of it,
Yeah, and
why,
the
we don't have to
convection- the
reinvent the wheel,
convection
this is already
range.
spelled all out in this stuff
Right,
here.
yeah.
And you're talking about us having videos, well, this is already done, all we gotta do is show it to them.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, I have not watched the videos personally.
I think you should though,
The,
because.
the guy, Dick Elkin.
I know him
is
very well.
super knowledgeable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Boy, he's knowledgeable.
I've
He
known him
has
for
his
years.
feet everywhere.
I've known him for years.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So I know him.
It's
so-
delightful. It's
And-
really
and-
delightful.
And also, a lot of the other people in that group, I mean, like I said, I was a member of IAM, so I know Terry Gallagher, I know Sharon Leader, I know, Harriet Coram. What I can do,
Mhm.
I wanna just go back and get the time that each, because they're different lengths, and then I can talk to, Dinah Bay, who is our connection.
Yeah, so I think the best thing for us to
That would be
do
fantastic.
is to
with
just to
them.
get it on channel, the first step is just get it on channel 18.
And maybe even do reruns of it, I mean.
That's exactly what I had in mind.
You need to drum this into the
Yes.
populace, okay?
Yes.
She shows stuff
They
more than
show it,
once.
show
Yeah,
it,
they put it on a
show it once a
schedule.
week for crying out loud for
Yes.
the next 6 years until they get the idea.
Yes.
Well, I don't know about
Yes.
that,
Yeah, but I will,
Yeah.
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 Yes.
And then, if you do talk to her about that, you can also do we want to get interviewed as the committee? Because we're recommending that these videos go out there because it's something that we care about. So
Only,
they're gonna be
only,
hanging out there sort of
yeah,
without
only if,
context.
Where did this come from?
Yeah, yeah.
well, people might ask for Dick Elkin as opposed to us.
Right,
You
but
know?
but they have to know that there's somebody in their town that cares about this kind of stuff.
Absolutely,
and-
absolutely.
So maybe
Well,
even if we don't get interviewed, just make sure that.
We'll just show a
that-
picture of Valerie, say, call any questions of Valerie.
Or just say sponsored by, yeah.
Right, Dinah could just do a
Yeah,
little.
perfect, yeah.
Put her phone number, Valerie's picture and phone number on the first page.
Super available.
All right, so I think that'll be something that we could do easy peasy, because it doesn't require us doing much, it's just
Right.
getting that information to
Yeah,
Channel 18.
yeah.
And so we'll do.
But it actually shows that we're doing something, we're having some initiative to try to
Yes.
educate the
Yep,
community
yep,
about
yes.
what's coming,
Yeah.
okay?
It's educational. That's
Yes.
what I like.
Yeah.
Because it even educated
He
me. I'm
talks
looking
about,
at the
he
things.
talks about the 3 things that are most important, and he identifies them. One is
Housing.
house, energy use, car energy use, and the third is conserving energy and going to electric power. And he talks about each one of those subjects in very great detail, and he has the charts to prove it, that the
Yes.
most energy use we have is gasoline, and is natural gas, and inefficient homes around the area that
Yeah,
need to be
yeah.
made efficient,
Yeah.
okay?
And as a member of Cape Light Compact, which is the next thing on the agenda here, you would be surprised at how hard it is for us to get
Marginal.
people to sign up for these energy audits. They're free, you know, and
Are
for
you
many
talking
people.
about Cape Light Compact?
yeah.
I don't understand
We-
Cape Light Compact. It's an organization that serves the community.
Yes.
How?
All right, you have to, historically speaking, remember when the telephone companies were broken up and they were, because they said it was a monopoly and they had to,
Mhm.
they deregulated them and now we had all of these different phone companies. Well, the same thing happened with our utilities.
I
They
see.
didn't want monopolies.
Okay.
And so they deregulated electricity, which allowed other companies, and they decoupled
Mhm.
the producing of electricity.
Mhm. Meaning Eversource, current Eversource
Right.
from.
So instead of, so Cape Light Compact is on a par with Eversource, and I'll get to them later. Neither Cape Light Compact or Eversource, neither of those two
Mhm.
produce electricity. They sell electricity. They do not produce electricity. So when we deregulated electricity, we decoupled the making of electricity with the selling of electricity, all right? So forget about where the electrons are coming from. We have to buy it from somebody. So in Massachusetts, years ago, they came up with legislation allowing nonprofits to sell electricity. So instead of us, and that's Cape Light Compact. And so every Cape Light Compact is made up of the 15 towns. So the towns got together. It's called Cape Light Compact, but it's really the towns. The towns are what make it up. So if you look at anything Cape Light Compact, they'll have a list of all the towns on all of their letterhead.
Right.
What would be the advantage for me to join the compact?
Well, you already are, unless you opted out at some point. It's a default. Everybody on the Cape is default Cape Light Compact.
I don't know if I'm a member or not.
You
You're probably-
gotta look on your
But
power
she
bill, and
said
it tells you
it's
right on
default.
there, you should be under Next Energy, and you should have Cape Light Compact.
Yeah, it'll
Look at
say
your-
on your bill.
Look at your power bill next
Yeah,
time.
Yeah, it'll say in your bill.
We'll
Well,
bring it in, we'll show.
I will bring it in. Yeah, and another thing.
But you wanna be able to figure it out
I
yourself.
tried to buy my energy from a company in Texas. And
But why would you buy it out of
because
state?
it's half the price that Eversource charges.
And what did they,
Yeah, but-
and where they get, who's making their electricity?
But see, you wanna use energy that's produced from a green standpoint, like wind power, or
Or solar.
hydroelectric, or something that doesn't.
Well, I understand that this company is fully green,
Right. All right.
but in any event,
The
well,
point
I'm
being-
going to bring my bill
Yeah,
and we
the
will talk
point
about
being
it.
is that the default energy provider for our region is Cape Light Compact.
Mhm.
You don't have to have them, that's not, you can have anybody you want, all right? So, but once you leave Cape Light Compact, if you're unhappy with your other provider, you would have to opt back in to get into Cape Light Compact. Right now, Cape Light Compact is less than Eversource. All electricity between June and December, all electricity is high. Everybody's high. Eversource is high, Cape Light Compact's high, everybody's high. Because of everything else that's happening in the world, right? We've got all the energy crisis, the war in Ukraine, transportation issues, so anyway, it is pretty high right now. The other thing that Cape Light Compact does is it does a lot of consumer advocacy. They work very closely with Mass Save in like getting rebates for like old humidifiers and refrigerators and putting out information about renewable energy and that type of thing. Cape Light Compact is all green as well. If you have extra money, not all of us do, but some people have a little bit of extra money, they're comfortable. So you can choose to get what they call local green. And that's 100% green from New England sources only.
But it
instead
might
of-
cost you more money for the power.
Right, that'll be a little more expensive, but whatever. NextEra, but everything that Cape Light Compact's contracts for is green.
They also have stuff for, environmental justice. communities.
Absolutely,
For-
they're
for
very,
low-income people.
they're work very hard for low-income people, very hard for environmental justice. They also, in Massachusetts, years ago, decided that energy efficiency was important. And so they wanted to fund energy efficiency. So if you look on your bill, there's a little, they take out a little bit every month that goes into an energy efficiency fund.
They take little bits.
Yep. And
There are
then,
about 12 little bits that they
and
take.
that energy efficiency fund goes to, for those of us on the Cape, the little bit that we put in goes to Cape Light Compact. And that's how they fund their energy efficiency, their energy
That's the way
audits.
they are funded, that
Yes.
little bit we give.
A little bit we give, right?
Yeah, I will just say that where I live, my utilities are included in the
Right,
rent, so
right.
I have no idea what this is about. I feel like I'm totally clueless.
Well, you don't need to know.
I know,
Yeah.
but I've heard Maggie's presentation,
Yeah.
and it was very similar to what, Dave Shell, is that his name? Dick Shell?
Yeah, Shell, yeah.
Shell,
Mm.
what he basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's the origin of Cape Light Compact. It's called it's an aggregator. They aggregate, they represent the towns on the Cape to try to get the best deal in electricity for their clients, which are us.
Best energy, best energy efficiency, or the energy,
Right.
best green.
Right. It didn't start out that way. I mean, electricity wasn't green. Like when Cape Light Compact was first formed, it was all about cost. Nobody cared really if it was green or not, but now
course.
we do care,
Of
and
course.
it is green now.
Of course.
And so that's kind of what Cape Light Compact, it's a nonprofit, it's not in it for the money. It represents the 15 towns on the Cape. I'm the rep for Harwich. Every town has a rep, that goes to a meeting every month, we keep track of what's going on and, that type of thing. So, you have representation in the organization that is providing you with your electricity, Eversource doesn't offer that, they're just a business, they're for-profit.
Yeah, they deliver
Yeah,
energy, that's
Yeah.
it.
that's it. So getting back to Cape Light Compact,
Yeah.
they did warn us that our electric bills are going up between June. The contracts are for 6 months, and that's true for Eversource as well. Everybody, all the electricity providers usually can only get a contract for 6 months. And it usually runs from June to December, and then from December to June. Those are your 2 periods. And so once the new contract kicked in June, and so this July electricity bill, but you don't have to worry about it, but if your July electricity bill, and you have solar panels, so you must not have very much.
I don't pay a penny.
You don't pay a penny.
But I'm concerned because every extra watt that I don't use goes to my granddaughter.
Good, yeah.
So I'm
So
very
anyway,
motivated.
Yeah, so anyway, you're motivated about what you produce, but if you're still paying an electric bill, which your neighbors may be,
Of course.
they may, wonder why their July bill seems so much higher than their June bill, even if they didn't feel like they were using any more electricity than normal. And that's because everybody's rates went up, even the people who had Eversource, their rate, everybody's rates
Your
went
air
up.
conditioning also goes up, so
Yes.
it's very confusing.
Yeah,
You can
so
feel
anyway,
that
so
it's-
they just warned us that people may notice that their July bill is more than they expected, and just to remind them that their rates did go up a little bit, about 2 cents a kilowatt, I think is what they did. The other thing, and I thought of you, Charlie, when we had this discussion, is the stretch code is being revised. And if you can go deep into the weeds on this, if you would like to go, but they're looking for public comment, so in August, you can go online and provide public comment on the new stretch code.
Well, I think back to my point there, I think we should be putting in something in there about multifamily housing.
They
so-
do, I'm getting to that, Charlie, they read your mind.
And we, as committees, need to be pushing this kind of stuff, because we're trying to be advocates for getting set up for electric cars in 2035, okay?
And, but the 4 of us here, can't do that. We can advocate for it, but what we can do is support the government agencies that write the laws and codes to make sure that those things are codified. So it's nobody's choice anymore, that it has to be done.
That's exactly what I want,
Yeah.
yes.
And so, this summer, they're reviewing all of the stretch codes. They're gonna finalize the codes in the fall of 2022, and by July 1st, 2024, it will be adopted.
Is this information available? I mean,
Yep, I'll give you this whole packet to take with you.
Okay,
Yeah.
but is that on a website or something?
No, this is from Cape Light Compact, but the web, you can copy
Well,
down
I mean, maybe other people might want to know about
Yeah,
where,
there's websites.
maybe I'll put that in the meeting minutes.
Okay,
The website,
yeah, I'll give it to you in a minute.
so that, maybe others have comments on it too.
So here's.
Yeah, I would like to
Yeah,
look at it.
I'll make it available to everybody. So, here's the rub. We adopted the existing stretch code when we became a green community. In July of 2024, when the new, much more rigorous stretch code is adopted, we will automatically have to follow it,
Mhm.
because we are a green community. I don't think the town's gonna be happy about that.
Can you give us an example?
The stretch code,
Maybe I can help.
the reason we were able to sell green community to our building inspectors was because the current stretch code only applies to new construction. It doesn't apply to like additions or renovations. The new stretch code will.
But only if you do something at your house, otherwise,
Oh,
no
you-
inspector
if-
will
if-
come to your
If you
house.
don't do anything to your house, don't worry about it, you know. But if you decide to remodel,
Right,
put on an
that,
addition.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
If you take action
Yes.
in whichever way or shape, so that an inspector comes to your house, then the stretch code
In
will-
2024.
will kick in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
okay.
now, you can put
Okay.
on addition, you don't have to follow the stretch code now.
Right, right.
But-
I'm gonna ask a really stupid question. I mean, we joke about this, some of us. What exactly is meant by a stretch code? It's like, does that mean you can stretch only every hour? No, I'm being facetious, but.
There's,
It's a
there,
weird
think of
name.
it, think of it as this, we have the standard building code. The stretch code is just a little bit more rigorous.
More energy efficient.
Right.
Yeah.
In other
And
words, you
new-
gotta have
and
more
new-
insulation in the house, you gotta have better
new
windows, you
version.
gotta have insulated basements, you gotta have insulated
We
attics, you
should
got.
have a different name for it.
Yeah, well, anyway, yeah.
No, I know,
It's just-
I know.
It's the basic building code, but a little more energy efficiency built into it. We don't have a choice in Harwich because we're a green community, so we have to go by the more rigorous code because we agreed to be a green community. So, anyway, so by 2024, whatever
That's it.
the final version is, Harwich will have to go by that, whatever it turns out to be.
Will it
And
be
do
more
you-
costly?
Well, what do you mean by more
course.
costly?
Of course,
No, well,
more demanding.
no, because I'm thinking of something else that changed recently and it meant more money. And I think this is something that every time there's a change that means more financial outlay, the Board of Selectmen gets a little more nervous.
It'll be more financial outlay for whoever's doing the building or remodeling.
So it's on whoever's doing the individual.
Oh, yeah,
So
it's not nothing to do with the town.
town,
No,
okay.
nothing to do with the town.
You know, I think the past ones were only for single-family houses. Does this include
It includes everybody now.
commercial buildings? 'Cause
Everybody,
when I
everybody.
inspected the new firehouse, I was asking about energy efficiency stuff, and they played dumb over there, and they built that $3 million firehouse in East Harwich there, and I went in and talked to the fire chief
This-
there with Larry Cole, the future, previous chairperson, Valerie.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we went both in, and he didn't know anything about energy efficiency stuff, so they're building a brand-new firehouse, spending $3 million on it, and not doing anything with energy
Exactly.
efficiency, so, anyway, but,
But they have a whole bunch for commercial.
that's what
Yeah.
they really should have,
Labs,
not just,
hospitals,
not just have
supermarkets,
home-
everybody.
not just have private homes, they
Yeah.
should have all commercial
Yeah.
buildings
Yeah.
and schools, and every municipal building be subjected to it.
Yeah, so,
Does the compact have an educational arm?
Cape Light Compact?
Yeah. Because there's new things that are coming, and you're learning it through them, or via them, I
Right.
don't know.
They have nothing, part of the problem, Cape Light Compact offers services to towns to help them achieve their energy goals, which is almost not really in their charter, so to speak. They have sort of taken on some of these tasks because the towns won't. So, for example, the only reason we're hanging in by a thread, and I'll get to that later, on our green community, because Sean tells me we're not gonna make it, we're not gonna reach our goals,
For not?
probably not, is because nobody in town,
Because nobody's following it?
well, we follow it, but
Implemented?
There's no plan.
there's no plan, right? And anything that costs money, we don't wanna talk about it, you know, and so, anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. But the point being is that all of the, like, the reporting and everything like that, which we should be doing ourselves. I mean, the town should be taking care of that. Cape Light Compact has had to use their staff to take care of our data, you know, because we don't have anybody who's doing it, type of thing. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So as far as education, I don't think we should depend on Cape Light Compact to be everything to everybody. I think we have to take some responsibility to educate ourselves on what is going on. Now, the people who are, of course, most concerned with this are not even us per se, it's the builders, you know, so all the builders are taking courses as we speak, you know, learning about this stuff, because you have to have a certain HERS rating now and all of that kind of thing. And
What's
so,
hers again?
home energy rating, and there's a
There was a HERS rating in the last one too.
yeah, but this is gonna be, of course, it's gonna get more stringent every time they revise the code, it tightens up a little bit.
But that inspector that comes to my house to approve my charging system is from the town. And
Yeah,
I
he's an
pay
electrical
150
inspector.
to the town.
Yeah. So we have building inspectors, we have electrical inspectors, plumbing
So the
inspectors.
town makes money with these inspections.
Right, which basically they just turn it around and it pays the salaries of the people that do it. I mean, they don't make a lot of money off of
Yeah,
inspections.
yeah.
The money you pay goes to make sure there's somebody there that can do that
Yeah.
for you. It's not a money-making operation. But anyway,
Back to the stretch code there, is there something in there about,
Power outlets for electric cars.
I'm getting there, Charlie.
And is it in just single-family homes, or is it in?
It's everywhere, Charlie. All right,
Yeah, they
So-
talk about that in Jeff Hawkins' video.
well, but I'm talking about in
Yeah.
the stretch code, because we
Yeah.
have to get some legislation in there to drive it, okay?
yeah,
Mhm.
so I will skip right to that part. Wiring for electric charging vehicles,
Okay.
all right. The updated base code requires wiring for future EV charging to 10% of new parking spaces, right, in all areas. The updated stretch code raises the minimum number of spaces requiring EV wiring to 20%. These are multiple occupancy buildings, like apartment buildings and stuff
Yeah.
like that. The charging can be met either dedicated electric branch circuits. There's different ways that you can achieve this. Now, what they really mean is they're not saying that, and it's for single-family homes too. Like when you build a new house in the future, you will have to have it wired for an EV car,
Whether you have an EV car.
whether you have one or not.
Right.
That does not mean that it has an EV charging station installed. It has a place to install it.
I hear you. Yeah.
Because,
So
let's
because-
say I'm buying a house. I don't wanna pay extra for a charging station and I don't have an electric car. I'm buying a house, I have an electric car. All I need to do is plug it in and I'm good to go. I don't have to rewire the whole house to do a charging station. It came that way. So there's space in the panel that it's all set to go.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So,
it has to be 220, yeah, but
Yeah.
we all have a,
right, so,
Whatever.
and this will be true of, commercial buildings, multifamily buildings, and obviously single occupancy buildings.
Okay.
All right. Now, as we're discussing this, remember, everything is in discussion right now. Like, they haven't finalized anything, which is why it might behoove some of us, if we're interested, to do the public comment thing in August. But that's what they're aiming for. They're aiming to have, those charging stations, pre-wired so that anybody who wants to, can have it easily. It's all set to go. They are also gonna be offering what they call a specialized code, which is even a little more energy efficient. But town meeting would have to vote on that. Even if you're a green community, you would have to vote that in.
So would it be more stringent?
Oh, yeah. And I don't think Harwich would do.
Especially with cosmetic.
Harwich is not very energy friendly. I mean, we can keep picking away at it. I mean, no, we took us 4 years to get to be green community because they shot us down the first time. So we had to bring it back again, you know, so it's a slog, but I think we can make incremental, don't expect big changes fast.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping that Dick Elkin
So, can I
videos
take
it?
will
Yeah,
have
you
a
can
little
take that.
slow impact.
Did you want it back?
Nope, I've got, I have
I'm
a,
gonna put this link in the
okay,
minutes.
yeah.
Terrific.
Can you say what you said
Yeah.
again? Because I heard it, but I don't know if these guys did.
No, I said that I'm hoping that Dick Elkin's videos might have a little impact here or there, you know, so that the community starts thinking, maybe we should do something.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that, I mean, I'd like to see those videos on Channel 18, and
Yeah.
Charlie was saying maybe once a week or something like that. And you can discuss with her, you know,
Yeah,
How you-
and Dick starts one of the videos saying, the future is right now.
yeah, yeah. And we know
Because-
that, you're preaching to the choir here, you know.
Yeah, I
Right,
know, but
yeah.
I find it terrific, you know,
Yeah.
because we think the future is
Right.
well, there.
And who knows, with all the negative news we've had about the terrible weather and all of that, maybe people
There are
would pay more
100
attention.
million Americans grilling.
Yeah,
100 million
Yeah,
Americans
of us are
grilling.
sweating,
So.
you know. So anyway,
Not me.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I
in
know.
the
Right,
center.
right, because
Okay.
we're lucky we have air conditioning, you know, but there are a lot of people, even in this country, that can't afford air conditioning. And,
Absolutely.
so anyway, so
Okay.
if you're interested in the stretch code thing, if you'd like to know more about it, he can send that out, but if you just put Massachusetts stretch code, it'll pop right up in your Google.
It's super technical. I
It's
looked
very
at it.
technical, you know, and that's, and see, and therein lies some of our problem,
Yes.
is
Yeah,
if for the average person, they don't wanna think about, they just, when they flip the switch, they want the lights to come on. You know, they don't really wanna agonize over where the electricity came from. What is electricity? How did it get here? You know, I mean, those are the sort of the existential questions that I don't think anybody really cares about, except a few of us, you know, that are concerned.
Until the power goes out.
Right, right. Or their bill goes up, or, you know, something like that. So I think that our biggest problem is to find a way to link in the average person to the question, you know, the question of climate change, without bowling them over with gloom and doom, or too much technicalities, or too much engineering, or, you know, that type of thing. I think that's, you know, kind of the sweet spot. I don't know what that is, but, you know,
Yeah.
if any of
and
us could figure that out, you know.
I think that Dick's videos, especially that first one.
Well,
just exactly.
Dick says that people are motivated to learn what is available and maybe go green when they need to replace something at home.
Right.
And that's very true, the timing.
Yeah. Oh, and that's one of the big problems right now with electric cars, because the average life of a car, I mean, there's some people that trade their cars in all the time. I mean, that's one group of people. But like, I buy a car and I keep it for a long, 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 long
I had
time.
mine for 14 years
Yeah.
before my
Right,
accident.
Right, so once I have invested, I'm not going back for a new car for a long time. Same with houses. Once you build a house, you're not gonna do that again. Once a house is built, it's there for 100 years, you know, and anything that happens to it would have to be retrofitted, you know, so which is why it's hard. And if you think about some of these newer stretch code suggestions, not even starting until 2024. Part of the this is when I talked to Joe Powers, our town administrator. He hadn't really heard anything about the Massachusetts net zero by 2050. He was not familiar with it at all.
Really?
At all.
Must be illiterate.
That's been around for like forever.
Right. So I
Yeah.
think that
It's
because
very
he
indicative.
is so knee deep in just the details of running the town and trying to keep this place going, but I told him, I said, Massachusetts can't reach their climate goals without the towns, because the towns are Massachusetts. You know, it's not like there's Massachusetts over there doing something and we're over here. We are them, you know, I mean, so
That's a good point.
eventually, what we can choose to do these things ourselves and get ahead of the ball, ahead of the curve, and be better, or at some point, it's gonna come down from on high, you know, and they're gonna say, oh, you're gonna have to do this, you know, and there will be no choice.
It's like the whole wastewater predicament.
Yeah, I mean, here we are.
We had to get sued.
Right, we had to get sued, you know, we could have done this 20, 30 years ago. Anyway, moving on, Sean Libby, I did contact him, he contacted me, and he said, very nice email, he said he would love to attend one of our meetings, one or more of our meetings, actually.
I love it.
He said he couldn't come, today is his wife's birthday, so
Yeah.
today was not a good day for him to do it, but we will make sure he stays on our mailing list.
Okay.
And so he tried to answer some of the questions that I sent to him, which were pretty much what you guys had, come up with.
Terrific.
He seems to think, that we're moving in a positive direction with the green community. However, as I said when we applied, I don't think we will attain them in the time frame required. And he said he would explain that more in person. He said it was too technical to really get into. So he thinks we're doing stuff. It's not like we're not, but he doesn't think we're gonna fulfill
And
our
I
obligation.
would ask him immediately, how can we remediate that?
Right, so he didn't say. All right, so anyway, he compiles the data, but then he works with Margaret Song from Cape Light Compact, so she basically uploads it to wherever it has to go in the state. Whatever, where, there's like a website that green communities use to host their data.
Okay.
And I asked him if there was any way for regular people to access this, and he didn't think so. But he did send me a copy that we can look at of one of the reports that they sent in.
So can he, if he can't attend our meetings, can he at least tell us, you know, on a sliding scale, if we had a chart of something like, well, like this is the year we started the green community, this is the year we're gonna finish, and how our energy saving features are going up, and what's planned to get to these last two things here, these last 2 years here. If you know, we need a chart like this, that these are all the projects, this is the energy saved right in here.
But I think there's more to it, and I think he didn't want to put it in an email. I think he wants to talk to us. All right, so
Well, he wants to attend.
hopefully he can come next month,
Yeah.
you know, and we can ask him those questions.
Can't we ask him the questions ahead of time so he can come prepared to answer them?
I think that might not be a bad idea.
I mean, that's why I got these answers, because I sent him questions that you guys had come up with. I don't know if we can ask him specifically if he has a graph, but I don't know if he does, but at least.
The graph is the basis for the plan.
Yeah,
You have to have a plan to have a graph. And if you don't know how you're gonna get there, you'll never get there.
Right, so anyway, let me finish his email. So that's our green communities situation,
Yeah.
all right? We are doing things, but he doesn't think it'll be enough, at least at this moment in time, to reach the 20% savings that,
But I find it very hopeful that we will be able to work with him.
yes, right. And maybe he just needs some
And
support.
maybe through him,
Yeah.
we will get to the
Right.
people
And
here.
maybe if he knew he had a group of people behind him, you know.
Will be more motivated.
Right. Okay, there are currently no plans that I am aware of for charging stations or municipal electric vehicles. I can discuss further during a meeting, so, Julie seemed to indicate that she was aware of that grant. Joe Powers was aware of the grant. Apparently Sean was not in that circle. So as far as he knows, there are no plans.
So I always feel like there needs to be sort of a central
I'm getting into
place.
that.
Oh.
Monomoy manages the bus contract, and they just signed a new one recently. We don't have our own buses, so we don't have any control really over whether they're electric buses or not, although there's a ton of money being thrown at electric buses right now.
Yeah,
I
the
s-
vineyard.
I sent them grants, I sent them contacts. All they told me was we don't have our own buses, you know, so, but we're the customers, I mean, we pay them for their buses, I
Who
mean.
are them?
Monomoy Bus Company, Monomoy, I forget who they have now. Used to be one student. The school doesn't have their own buses anymore, we contract with a bus company,
Oh, I see.
you know, so the town doesn't own or run the buses.
Okay.
So we just pay to have the buses pick the kids up. So we don't have any real control over, I mean, as the organization that pays them, we could say we'd like you to look into electric buses, but we don't, you know, like, we
Yeah,
can't
it's a
control what.
corporation.
Yeah, but
It's a
it's not
business.
ours to
Yeah.
make them do it, but, and we don't, believe me, there are not a lot of other companies, so it's not like we can say, well, we'll go to a company that has electric buses, there isn't another.
No, there would have to be a law
Yeah.
saying that
Right.
school buses have to be
Right,
electric.
and right now there isn't, so,
So, there we
you
are.
know,
Let
and,
me- I just have one more question.
yeah.
Who pays, whose budget pays the company,
School, it's the
the
school,
school district?
yeah, Monomoy School District.
So is there a way we could connect with Scott Carpenter or somebody about that? I mean, or is that just going?
Yeah, I think if they've already signed a contract, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
and I think as far as the school committee's concerned, the fact that they can find a bus company is all they, you know, there's not like they had a whole lot to choose from. And, you know, and also cost. But anyway, but there is a big push out there for electric buses, tons of money swirling around that.
Like CCRTA?
Pardon?
CCRTA, is that?
No, school buses,
School
there's a
buses,
big
okay.
push out there for electrifying school buses,
Right.
because, you know, the diesel fumes are not good for anybody, particularly children.
Mhm.
But anyway, nobody cares about that. We'll look at this in a minute. He did attach one of the reports, the most recent report that they did for the green communities. I asked a question, what you were alluding to, is like, there's a lot of stuff going on between stretch codes, energy efficiency, electric buses, electric charging stations, green communities, solar projects. It's almost like a whole position. I mean, it's almost like you need a person whose sole responsibility it is to keep track of all this stuff. So I asked him that question, and he answered, as for the position, I believe there were a few higher priority requirements before a dedicated energy monitor position. However, it's a good idea.
Isn't there a town that already has that?
Oh, yeah, I forget which one it is, too.
Yeah, no,
But there are a couple of,
What was your question?
Isn't there a town
Yeah.
that already has
was it
somebody in
Yarmouth?
that?
Falmouth, it might have been. I
Yeah,
think it's
Falmouth is trying, they
Yes,
got the
yes.
approval.
Yes.
Yeah,
it
so
is.
they're trying to do it, so I don't think it was totally.
Yeah, but I think anytime that we're asking for money,
Yeah.
we're doomed.
Forget it, yeah.
Yeah.
But we have to learn from their mistakes, though.
So this is almost unreadable, but what I can do, he sent it to me electronically, now that I look at it.
Can you share it with us?
I can send it to you electronically, because I
Yeah.
can't really read this.
Oh my God, the print is like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is that the projects that we're
well,
working?
this is his, yeah.
Maybe he purposely said it unreadable, do you think?
No, it's readable on the screen, because you can make it as big as you want.
so bad.
Yeah,
All right, I'll send you
we can read it,
yourself, yeah, I'll send it to you
Yeah, and
electronically.
then when we
'cause-
meet with him, we
Right,
know.
if you were able to decipher any of this.
Okay.
Anyway, so I'll send you, it's the latest green community, it's the 2021 Green Communities Annual Report, and I will send you the electronic version, because I can't read it. You can try to read it, but I can't read it.
Okay.
I did not get a chance to talk with Megan about, community solar, I just know that they do it. I mean, I'm on the board of Self-Reliance as well, and we've been doing community solar for a long time. So it
Here
just-
in Harwich?
Oh, no.
Or in Cape Cod?
On Cape. Anybody can sign up for community solar, you don't have to live any particular area. So if you are a member of Cape Island Self-Reliance, you can sign up with them. And it doesn't matter where you get your electricity from, you can sign up for this community solar, and it will take your electric bill down just a little bit.
So we would want to do that.
Right, and what my feeling is that we talked about this last time, we have this as of right siting place in Harwich that is already zoned for a solar farm. We just need a company to come in and put a solar farm there, and then we can sell the electricity to the residents of Harwich, which would help reduce their electric bills. But that is gonna have some more follow-up on it.
In what way, when you say found?
Yeah, because I could contact the guy who installed my solar panels and ask him.
It usually takes a big company, because we're talking about a large solar farm,
Well, we don't know until we ask.
yeah.
So what
There-
should I ask?
Well, you're not gonna talk to your regular solar installer, because they're not involved in solar farms, they're installed in.
I'll ask him
Um,
where to go for solar
yeah.
farms.
Right, or companies that want to build solar farms to provide community solar. And I'll check in with Megan, I just haven't had a chance to talk to her, she's up to her armpits in wind energy things.
Wind.
Yeah, she's our organization is very involved with the wind farms that are being built out there. She's,
Are they really being built up?
Of course they
oh,
are.
yeah, yeah.
Because when we moved to Cape
Oh,
Cod.
yeah, just forget about
Well,
it.
oh,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
that was a fiasco.
That was a disaster. This is a whole different thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Vineyard
get
Wind,
these-
was it Vineyard
I get
Wind?
these
Vineyard Wind
updates every
and
2 weeks, and I can
um,
put you on the mailing list of
Would you please?
progress of
What's the other
of
one?
all these things. I've gotten hundreds of emails. of
Vineyard Wind was
all
the
the progress
first
of
one.
the-
Yeah,
putting all the
And then
cables
there's
in, and
Mayflower.
Hyannis, and
Mayflower.
digging up all the streets
Yeah.
to run the
Yeah.
cables to
Yeah.
the substation and
Because I heard
everything
a lot
else.
of stuff from Cape Mayo.
Terrific.
Hire
love
the
that.
people to
Right.
build them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
love
anyway,
that.
those will happen, and they're already staging to get out there and start construction, and most of that will come out of New Bedford there, which was great for New Bedford, because New Bedford is a depressed little city, and it will help to revitalize that town, and they're gonna, pour a lot of money into their waterfront, and improve their docks, and, all of that, so. And then, at Mass Maritime, they're starting to teach the courses that are necessary to train the workforce to work on these things. And so they're already doing that, and that's what Megan does, she teaches some of these courses.
Employment,
Employment,
income.
yeah, because at the beginning of our wind farm construction, we will have more European workers here than we will have American workers, because we're still training up the workforce.
Those are the things that
Yeah.
you have to tell the selectmen
Yeah,
when you talk to them.
yeah. But it's all great for New Bedford, it's not so great for Harwich,
Well, but all this activity,
Yeah.
with solar
yeah.
is creating,
Right.
generating energy
Yeah.
in the
And
town.
I think, and when we get frustrated, I think the thing to keep in mind is that there is some inertia, there's some momentum now to green energy that you can't stop. I mean, things are gonna happen whether we help or not, that
Absolutely.
it's going to keep going.
Absolutely.
Because eventually,
Mhm.
it's gonna make sense from an economic point of view.
Right.
And even so, the people who only care about the money will be happy too,
Of
and,
course.
and,
And that's 90% of the people.
yeah. And I don't know if you saw the article, if you didn't, I can try to send it to you, but this June 5th, this year, we use less electricity in Massachusetts than at any other moment in time.
That is sounding vaguely familiar.
because everybody, so many people have put solar on their roofs, and so many businesses have put solar, and it was mild weather.
It was cool weather
Yeah,
too, you
yeah,
didn't need
But
air
the point
conditioning.
being, is that,
We're lucked out.
but we're starting to see those days where
Yes,
we are, instead
yes,
of constantly doing this, we did one of those, you know.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
the stars had to align, but it's still, I think it's positive to think about it can happen,
absolutely, it's
you know.
positive. I read
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
93% of all California energy needs were met one day
Yeah,
with solar and wind.
right.
I-
Now,
So
and I'm-
again, that's the same thing.
it's a baby step, but
Yeah.
it is a.
It's encouraging.
Yeah, it is
I
a step.
have a friend of mine that's driving across the country, and he just sent an email and said that he was in Kansas, I think, and it was 52% of the power in Kansas is wind turbines,
Yep,
electric power.
See,
Yeah.
you see? And
And when-
that
if you
r-
drive
it drives
From
to.
San Francisco east on the mountains, and every mountain is filled with wind turbines as far as you can see in all directions, east of Yosemite, San Francisco there.
Yeah.
You go over to Yosemite.
so, you know, for us, they're gonna have to be in the ocean, because we just don't have that kind of land here. This committee tried to get a wind turbine in Harwich, and we were practically tarred and feathered and run out of town.
Was that after the whole Falmouth fiasco?
It was
That's so funny.
before that.
I see the tar on the end of your
Yeah.
nose.
Oh my God, you know, it was a scary time, but, needless to say, the turbine did not get built. Because we had the people saying that wind turbines cause illness and disease,
And they were unsightly, I remember that.
and, yeah, they're unsaid, they make
And-
noise,
Yeah, and they kill the birds.
they kill the birds.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So,
that's when we chucked the wind idea, and we jumped on the solar farm at the dump, and we thought, we got that one going.
That's
Hey,
terrific.
hey, listen.
that's terrific.
Okay, so did everybody, I'm doing it next Thursday evening, open meeting, and did everybody
So
sign up?
next Thursday or Tuesday?
Whatever
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
is it Tuesday? Tuesday,
Yeah, I'm
Tuesday.
doing it Tuesday afternoon.
I'm doing it in the evening. Did you guys
Okay.
sign up?
Yeah, but I think I signed up for the afternoon.
After,
Me
that's
too.
fine, you can do whatever you want, you know.
Yeah,
I
me
have to
too.
do evening because I work, you know, so.
Yeah, and I like to do afternoon because I don't.
Because you don't. So anyway, so we will
Okay,
all,
just wanted to make sure
yeah,
that.
so we're all signed up, we're doing what, you know, we're being good doobies and
Mm-hmm.
taking our lessons and so.
But I think, just as a clarification, I think there was some discussion about, I think two people can have a conversation, but I don't think more than two people.
We'll find out. I just, you know,
Yeah.
the thing is, it's okay to communicate basic things like the next meeting, agenda items,
Mm.
you know, that type of thing. But business needs to be discussed while we're being recorded. So, before we set our next meeting, sometimes if you wanna have wiggle room in your agenda, sometimes you can put an item in there, like new business. So that if somebody has something that's not on the old agenda,
Oh, I see.
we can bring it up.
Instead of other.
Yeah,
Ah,
you know.
okay, okay.
So, and that will, hopefully, we'll find out, but I think that gives us permission to,
Bring up something
Bring up
out of the blue,
something.
yeah.
That,
You know.
that's not written
right,
specifically.
right,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
On the agenda then.
Right, right, so
Right.
we will, you know, on your agenda, you can have new business, I think Cape Light Compact, we say, we have a time in our agenda for anything that was not anticipated, you know, at the time of the agenda, something like that.
Yeah.
And during our course, they might give us verbiage that we can use
Right.
that will help us
Right, that would be
meet
very
that,
helpful.
you know,
Yeah.
so, anyway.
So specifically just to back up a bit, who's gonna contact the Channel 18 to put this?
I am.
Oh, you, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna contact Dinah Lane.
Okay. You're gonna contact who?
Dinah Lane,
Dinah.
D-I-N-A-H.
D-I-N-A-H, Lane?
Lane, L-A-N-E.
All right, thank you. I didn't catch it, who's gonna do what.
That's fine. Thank you for asking. I have a request around meeting the third Thursday of the month.
Okay, we can,
And, no, what I realized is that, the summertime has a little more wiggle room, but starting in the fall, I do have a regular
okay,
commitment, third Thursday of the month from 1 to 3, and I can't do that. It's usually a
Right.
Zoom meeting, but it may be in person,
who knows?
yeah. So I'm fine with Thursdays, just not third Thursday.
All right, how about you guys? Number one, is Thursday okay
Yeah.
in general?
It's a good day for me.
Would you want the second or the fourth Thursday?
I don't mind.
Either,
I'm okay.
Does it matter?
not to me.
Okay, so if it's the fourth Thursday, then it would be, our next meeting would be August 25th.
Just double check, make sure I have it double booked.
That would be the fourth Thursday.
Oh, I don't think I can make it that day.
Uh-oh.
My daughter is coming from
Okay.
Europe,
That's
so I have to go pick her up. I
all
will be
right.
in Logan.
If it was the second Thursday, it would be the 11th.
That would work.
Should work for me.
What we're trying to establish is, can we stick with the second Thursday of the month?
Usually I'm flexible.
Yeah. No, I have Thursday is a pretty open day for me.
So is that still at 3 o'clock?
Yep, 3 p.m.
So the next meeting is
August,
second Thursday, August 11th at 3.
August 11th at 3 p.m. And I'll make sure,
I'll make sure that I'm okay, but if I'm not okay, I'll,
Can we sign up before we leave
yeah,
right here?
we can go, no, they're closed. 'Cause-
Because, you know, they won't do phone conversation things. And I said to them, you know, I worked for GE for 20 years ago, and we used to set up any conference room in the entire Schenectady complex. There was 20,000 people there by our computer. I said, why doesn't the town have
Well,
some
you have
kind
to
of
use colored markers on a paper calendar.
some kind of a similar system so that I can go on my computer and get into the website and put in for the meeting thing. I said, why would you want to be back in the dark ages?
Welcome to my world. This is why, you know, having a meeting was not that easy. You physically have to get in here and put,
And even if I get the
color.
woman on the phone, she won't walk 5 feet over there and put it on that, well, she won't do that.
why you think is that? Lack of funds? Short-handed?
I have no idea. Probably shorthanded. I think the staff feels they're being asked to do too much anyway.
And by the way, we're volunteers too, and she's a paid employee.
I know.
Oh, Charlie.
But anyway, so I don't know if you guys.
So it's not energy efficient to drive down here and sign my name to a piece of.
You're making an official statement for the public to hear.
Yeah. So anyway, we have our next meeting on,
There's no danger
we'll
whatsoever.
send Roseanne any of our, she busily wrote down stuff, but anything you can think of that you want on the next agenda,
Okay,
make sure she gets
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So that she can include it, and she was great, we all got the chance to look at it, make
Yeah, no,
suggestions, and
fantastic.
Charlie, you, excellent minutes as always, very detailed, we love it.
Checking, I need to write home.
I know.
Oh, okay, well, I know I sent you an email.
And I will, and you're gonna check into like any, like, how to find somebody who would like to build a solar farm in Harwich.
Yeah.
Is something that we could look at. And,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll try to check in with
I
Megan.
mean, I'll,
Yeah, I mean,
start
see what I
asking.
say, yeah. And you're gonna send all the agendas, minutes to that email address I gave you.
you're right.
Yes,
Yeah, perfect. I think that would-
I'm not gonna send a new one.
No, we have to approve that next time, yeah. And I'll send you that, I'll forward Sean's whole email to all of you that way.
No,
So should I come down at some point in the next couple of weeks and sign up for the meeting at
Yes,
that time?
please.
Okay.
If you try to do it like when you're going to the store, we're gonna be out anyway, I mean, they're not open on Fridays, so you can't do it Friday.
It's not open now, right? You said,